nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Opening statement. Let me read this.
Want me to do the roll call?
Do we do? Oh, yes, roll call. I'm sorry, Dan.
Okay, all right, no problem. Mr. Errico,
Here.
Mr. Patel? Mr. Patel?
Aguni's here. They're muted.
Okay, all right, she's here. Mr. Shi,
Mr. Shi is here.
Mrs. Conway,
Mrs. Conway is here as well.
Mr. Podofsky.
Mrs. Podofsky is here.
Yes. So everyone's present except for Mrs. Maroney, Mrs.
Mrs.
Pang.
Maroney's here, I believe.
Oh, she is here now?
Mr. Maroney, is that you there?
Can we unmute them for just 1 second?
Yes, I will do that all, Ralph. Give me 1 second.
Yep. There's Ms.
Elizabeth,
Podofsky.
she raised her hand.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Can
Yeah,
the board
we see
members
you.
hear me now?
Yes.
You want to go through the
Yeah.
roll call again, Dan?
Okay,
Okay.
You can get an affirmative.
all right, Mr. Errico,
Here.
Mr. Patel.
Yes. Here.
Did you say Mrs. Maroney was there?
Yes, she is, right here.
Okay. Mr. Shi,
Here.
Mrs. Conway,
Here.
Mr. Podofsky.
Here.
Okay, so I have everyone here except for Mrs. Peng, Dr. Chen, and Mrs. Madiker.
I think that they're having a hard time getting on because there's been 100 people. That's what I'm getting a text from them.
Okay. Well, let's wait a minute or two.
Yeah, because Shannon said 100 reach, I can't join.
Right.
I think Yuna is probably the same boat.
Yeah.
Chevy, yep.
Yeah.
Is Patrick still there? Ralph?
Patrick.
Yes.
Ralph
So-
Parker.
I'm
Oh,
here.
Ralph, sorry.
Hey, Ralph, we're not limited to 100, are we?
They lifted that limit actually for education. That's what we're looking at right now to find out what's going on, but it lifted the limit.
Because the list of participants has not gone over 100.
How many do we have listed right now?
100.
Shannon just sent me a text from her computer. It reads, hold on. The
Can't get
meeting has reached a maximum of 100 participants. Please try again later.
I see it too.
Okay, we're gonna take a look at that.
Okay, we got time. We got a few minutes. It's all new. Need to be patient.
Well, it helps to join early, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ralph, at this point, can we
Can I
maybe
read the opening statement?
limit some public and then bring in the board? Because we're going to move to executive anyway. And
Right,
then it gives you time to work on the
Right.
backside while we're in executive. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree.
Yeah, Ralph Barker. Yeah.
Hope, is that okay with?
Yes,
legally
and
to do
that legally makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's
So,
fine. Yeah,
if we
we're,
have the
we're,
other
we're not
bo-
discussing an issue, yeah.
Let the other board members in now, and then while we're in executive, Ralph, you could work on that.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that means
Oh, Ralph.
we have to let some people out. Do I have to do that, don't I?
Yes.
Now, I can't find the ones in the waiting room. So. Hey, Ralph, I'm going to move, can you move the management to you? Because I'm not sure how to do that.
Yeah, just,
Do you know how to make, do you know how to make room?
yeah, well, yeah. Bring, just make me the host.
How do I do that, brother? On the bottom?
Yes. You could click on me and just say make host. Okay, we have, I have 93 participants now.
I just made you the host.
Okay.
Yeah, mine's showing 89, 90.
Were you able to find the other ones in the waiting room?
I'm looking right now. I don't find the other, I don't find the other board members. I don't see, there's 13 waiting right now and I don't see them. Right now I have 12, 13 board, members of the public, but not the board members, not our board members.
Shannon saying, waiting for host to let me in.
Do you know, okay, I see Shannon right here.
Let me see you as a unit.
Do we see Shannon?
Not in the waiting room, Ralph?
I just unmuted Shannon. I just want to make sure, it just says Shannon, so I want to make sure it's her.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's me. Yeah.
Okay, great.
By the way, Beth is still muted.
Okay. I don't see anyone else,
Is you
any
know,
other board members? Unless Dr. Chen is coming via an iPhone. That's all I see, says iPhone, but I'm not sure who that is.
She's not on iPhone. She don't have an
Okay.
iPhone.
But
And then
I
Mrs.
don't see
Madigan,
Dr.
she's
Chen.
not out there in the waiting room?
I don't see her either, no.
Okay.
yeah, she sent an email saying that she's blocked because of that 100.
Yeah, I have
maximum
it too.
usage.
Yeah, she sent it. I have it too.
Do you know what device she's coming across on, or if, or under a different
I'm
name?
texting
I
her.
don't- Okay. Okay. Okay, I see Dr. Chen.
And then we're still waiting for Mrs. Madigan.
Okay, I see Dr. Chen here.
Mr. Erico, I was going to say something to the public just about the status of where we are and stuff. This be a good time to fill in. I can't hear
Ralph,
Ralph.
are you listening? Ralph,
He's showing us
unmuted.
muted.
Okay. Ralph
I
is
am
ready to
muted.
go.
Vivian is saying that she's tried many times to get on. It's still the same message.
Ralph, I was asking, I had a few things I wanted to say. Is it all right to say them now in the public while we're wasting time?
Hope, what do you think before the Public Meeting Act? Read?
It all depends. Is it part of the public business or is it, bear with us while we're working?
It's just informational, update on where we are. Wait,
As far as the meeting is concerned,
no, overall, the district, the remote learning.
I would wait.
Okay,
I'd wait.
thought I could just fill time.
Once I see Chevy, I'll bring her in.
Same message on the phone. Leave meeting. The meeting has reached a max of 100. I don't know what device she's trying on.
Right,
Ask
that's
her.
the only thing that's the
Ask
only thing
her.
I need.
I'm going to tell her to try an iPad or a laptop. The iPhone is tough.
I don't see her in the waiting room.
Okay.
And if she's coming under a different name or a different, or a device that might be just a generic like iPhone.
She's going to try an iPad now. She said she tried the laptop already. Now she's going to try the iPad.
Okay. Yep, I see her now. She just came through.
Okay.
Okay. Do we see? Chivy's here.
All right, Chivy?
Yep.
Hello, Chivy?
I just have to unmute her now. One
Oh.
second.
Doc, can you unmute her?
Gotcha. I got her.
It's Ralph.
I got her. She's unmuted, but we're not getting audio from her. Okay.
Nope.
I'm just trying to see what's going on. with my-
Is that her?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, now we're all set. We good now? Is All right.
Yes.
Just to let you know, Shivy, what happened so far, the only thing we did was the pledge and the roll call. Obviously, you're present now. Dan, you got to mark as present?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. I'm going to read the Open Public Meeting Act statement. This is an addendum to the adequate notice statement in light of the public health emergency we have. In light of the COVID-19 public health emergency, the emergency orders and directives at the federal, state, and local levels, and consistent with the Open Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6, as amended by PL 2020 C11, OPMA, the Edison Board of Education is conducting a regularly scheduled meeting originally designated to take place at J.P. Stevens High School remotely using conferencing technology Zoom. The public has been advised of this venue, and a formal change in instructions have been provided in order to access the meeting and to speak during the public participation section. You will need to download the Zoom app to participate during the live streaming. PLC 2020 C11 permitting remote conduct of meetings was signed into law by Governor Murphy on Friday, March 20th, effective immediately. The board recognizes the importance of open transparency and public access, view, and participation in its work. In light of the current crisis and the brave new world in which we live, the board asks for all citizens to bear with us as we work to meet the health, safety, and educational needs of our students, staff, and all members of the Edison community. Thank you. Now, I think, can Dr. Bregan make a statement now? Hope?
Yes, sure.
All right, Doc,
Thanks.
it's all yours.
Thank you, Board President Erico. I just wanted to go over a few things. First and foremost, I wanted to thank everyone for all their efforts throughout this crisis. It has been truly a team effort, and we're continuing to work with all our local authorities, our Office of Emergency Management, as well as our local government, the Board of Education, as well as with our county representatives in our response to the COVID-19 virus. I'd like to report that our remote learning is going well since commencing on March 17th. It will continue to be refined and evolved as time goes on, and I'm sure there are some kinks in the road that we are working out. We will continue to work out, and some of those bumps, we don't know where they are yet, but our team has done a great job in trying to mitigate that. Currently, we have 16,880 students approximately, and more than 99% of them are successfully accessing our remote program at the secondary level. The elementary numbers range from 90 to 99% success rate. And while those percentages are high, and those not engaged is very small, we're using all of our resources, our guidance counselors, our attendance officers, our administrators, to reach out to those families and provide assistance with connectivity and whatever issues as they may arise. As Board President Erico said, this is new, it's novel for us. And there are some sticky points and some bumps in the road, and we're continuing to work through those, and our team is doing an excellent job in navigating that. We're also working closely with our association presidents, again, as we go through this new paradigm shift in instructional practices and work out those issues as they arise as well. In addition, I'm really proud to say our emergency operations are functioning at each of our high schools, where the people are doing their part while protecting themselves with the appropriate social distancing to make sure our students are fed and they remain connected to the greatest extent possible. And I'd just like to recognize some of those groups. At John P. Stevens High School and Edison High School, the following groups of people are working every day and going into the buildings and doing what we can to make sure our students are fed, as well as we provide the connectivity and repairing devices as that arises. Our facility manager and custodians, our administrative team at both high schools, our security staff who are rotating through and really are the points of contact and trying to distance themselves so that they don't promote any contagion or receive anything, and keep a sterile environment while still giving accessibility to the parents and the students for the devices as well as the food. Our Chartwell staff has done an excellent job in preparing, cooking, packaging both breakfast and lunch and having those ready to go on a daily basis. Our transportation department, our drivers and drivers' aides, they're crucial in delivering the meals to those unable to pick them up. And in addition, they are ensuring that any leftover meals are delivered to the emergency operations centers, emergency operations center for the township, to make sure those meals reach hungry people who are in need. And then overall, the technology department under Ralph Barker's leadership, as well as his technicians, have been out there every day doing what they can to make sure the devices are working, repairing devices, and being accessible for the children in need. And through all their efforts, we have approximately 3,000 students that are eligible for free and reduced lunch. And as of Tuesday, March 17th, we served 642 students. Wednesday, it was a little higher at 666. On Thursday, March 19th, we broached 1,030. Friday was 850 students we were able to feed with the 2 meals, breakfast and lunch. And yesterday, the latest number we have was today, Monday, the 23rd, was 712. And I imagine that's impacted for the rain. So as we develop this process and get more attuned to meeting the students' needs where they are as far as feeding them, I see those numbers continually rise. And I just wanted to thank everyone for all their efforts. It's been humbling to see how we've all come together. So thank you, Board President Errico. Ralph, are you still managing Ralph Barker, or am I managing? There you go.
All right, I'm unmuted now. Okay, thank you, Dr. Bregan, for your comments. At this time, Dan, would you please read the resolution to go into closed session? Dan? Is he muted?
Dan just tried calling me. Did he get kicked out?
Yeah, I don't see him on the list of people. No, he's not on a 69 list of participants. Now we're down to 68. Someone dropped.
Try to get him to rejoin.
Okay.
So no word there, Ralph?
What?
No word, Ralph Barker. Dan trying to
sorry.
get in?
He's muted. You gotta unmute him.
I unmuted myself, but yes, I'm looking for Dan. He was on, then he dropped off again. I'm looking
Is he
for
on
him.
Is he on a device or is he on his cell phone?
He's on a computer.
Oh, okay.
Hope, does it have to be the board secretary that reads the resolution?
No, it does not. It doesn't. If you want me to read it, I can. If the board president wants to read it, if you want to read it, it's fine.
Mr. Errico?
I don't have the resolution in front of me, so I don't
I
have.
can read it.
Go
Is
ahead.
it okay if I read it?
Yeah,
Go
it is.
ahead.
Yeah.
Hopefully I got the right one. Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances. And whereas this public body is of the opinion that circumstances presently exist now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Township of Edison, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from discussion and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. Attorney-client privilege discussion regarding personnel matters, personnel, resignation, terminations, retirements, appointments, leaves of absence, change of status, longevity, substitute staff, adult school, high school math programs, Special Olympics, salary adjustments for professional staff, salary guide credit for non-certified 12-month staff, 2020 extended school year, 2019-2020 coaching appointment, authorization to approve requests for extended health benefits. It is anticipated at this time the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution should take effect immediately. We anticipate this meeting taking between 30 and 45 minutes.
Thank you, Doc. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Jerry and Elizabeth, second. Now we need someone to keep a record of votes.
I got it.
All right, I'm just gonna go, Elizabeth,
She's muted.
gotta unmute everyone.
I'm going to, I'm doing it right now. Beth is unmuted. Okay, Elizabeth is unmuted.
Okay, Elizabeth,
Yes.
Beth,
Raise my hand.
Beth? Beth? Carol?
Yes.
Una?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Who am I missing?
Chevy.
Jivy?
Yes.
Val?
Yes.
And me, yes. Everyone's yes.
Got it.
All right, at this time, Ralph, are you gonna send us a way to get into closed session now?
We have the link. It should be in that email that was sent to you already. So we're
From Ralph?
and we got the link came from Ralph.
Okay,
I have it too, though.
all right, I'll look on my phone. All right, this portion is closed, so we're all gonna leave the meeting, correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm pressing the leave meeting.
Okay, me too.
I'll see you in closed session.
Dan, we're going to closed session now.
All right. All right, Dan, we need a motion to come back into closed session. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion?
Jerry? And who? And Chivy. Roll call.
Okay, Mrs. Madiker,
Yes.
Mr. Podolsky, Mr. Podolsky,
Yes.
Mrs. Conway,
Yes.
Dr. Chen,
Yes.
Mrs. Peng,
Yes.
Mr. Shi,
Yes.
Mr. Maroney. Mr. Maroney,
He's not muted, but I don't think our audio is working.
okay. Mr. Patel
Yes.
and Mr. Errico.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in open session.
Okay. So let's start. Look at the agenda. All right, first we have approval of minutes for February 18th and 24th. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion.
Okay, Carol and Elizabeth. Roll call.
Mrs. Madiker,
Yes.
Mr. Podolsky,
Yes.
Mrs. Conway,
Yes.
Dr. Chen,
Yes.
Mrs. Peng,
Yes.
Mr. G,
Yes.
Mrs. Maroney? I think she's solving problems with her audio. Mr. Patel?
He muted?
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Errico?
Yes.
So carried.
Okay, I actually skipped a few things here. Resolution and reports, board discussion only at this time. So if we could speak one at a time, I'm just gonna go through everyone, and any comments you have to make, you can make. So let me start off with, let's go, if Beth's not working, right? Beth's audio? If Beth has anything to say, if Beth could hear us, if she could text one of us her questions or concerns, we could do that. All right. Elizabeth, anything?
No, I'm good.
All right. Carol?
I'm good.
Jimmy?
What is this on resolutions?
Resolutions only.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Una?
This is all the resolutions?
Yes.
So which are the resolutions? I'm sorry.
All the resolutions, number 10. Anything under number 10? Roman numeral X. I can come back to you, Shivy. Anything, Una?
So include the calendars and like
Everything.
the
Everything.
and the grouping procedure.
Exactly.
So this afternoon we have a CTC meeting. We talked about the grouping procedure. But I still have some. I think it may need a little bit more tweaking. For example, I still think that I can see that we want to put more people, give more students a challenge. So actually we have loosened our criteria to give more, basically to allow more students to be enrolled in the honor class for the 9th grade. But but for the 6th grade, and actually the English has become harder. So is there a logic behind it?
Okay, if we could unmute Gail, yes. Because this is what I understand. This came out of the committee today, and we made, I think, one change, I believe, that was highlighted in yellow. And this came out of the office of Gail and Bedinder, I believe. So if we can get comments from them.
Yeah, what? Yeah, okay, go ahead, sorry.
I think I'm unmuted, correct?
No,
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, Dr. Chen, you had concerns about the 5th to 6th grade, but we explained that the 6th grade curriculum is already very challenging. It's good for all kids, but there was a request to try to challenge a few more, so we're not looking to open that up to a large amount. There's going to be a sufficient amount of students who do, but it is a lot of writing and it's a lot of reading, and the students need exceptional skills in order to do well in that level. So we want to challenge those who have those exceptional skills, but overall the 6th grade is a very challenging curriculum. And then they have the following year where we'll open up more once we build their foundation. It's a big jump from 5th to 6th when it comes to writing skills.
Yeah, but I thought the overall thought is to make it easier for the kids to get in. And with this one, we're making it from 70 to 80%, making it harder. And to add on what we did before last year when we had the grouping procedure, we said we try to give the parents a heads up as to what their kids are expecting for the next year. So when this grouping procedure was done, it was done for 2 years, for last year and this year. And now we're changing it for this year. That means that it really didn't help them. So, you know, it's different than what we told them that before. Are we also planning to do another grouping procedure for the next school year? Because that's what we try to do. And if we're making the change now and we're making change again next year, it's just like before. Every year in April or you know, in February or March, we change the grouping procedure, and parents and students doesn't know what's coming.
No, our hope is that this grouping procedure will last. The one last year had to do with a lot of points. It was very confusing to the parents. That's the feedback we got back. We eliminated the points, and we hope that everything is going to go well. This is going to stay for a long time.
Well, we eliminate.
Gail, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Sorry. Last year we had the point system has been there, but last year we already developed a non-point system, which is already put online. The grouping criteria online has included 2021, which is not a point system. Parents already used that last year. Last year there were two systems being used because some were wanted to use exactly because the reason that the parents are coming to the board meeting saying there's no transparency, you can't set up a new criteria because all the test has been done. But we're doing that again. But other than that, there is already a non-point system which is already put there last year. It's named 2021. Parents are looking at it since last year. I don't know if you noticed there is a non-point system, which is already was online. The point system is very confusing. I totally agree with you. That's why the whole reason we went through, the CTC committee went through a lot of meetings last year, changed the point system to a non-point system, which has been used last year. And back to that middle school question, the ELA readiness test, last year it was set to 70%. And this year we changed that from 70% to 80%. I understand we try to broaden the honor class for high school, which I agree. I mean, we can lower the bar for the high school, but we are increasing the bar for the middle school. So it's like we're broadening the pathway for high school students, but we're shutting the door for the middle schools, for the younger kids, for the fifth graders.
On this one,
So I'm not sure I understand that.
If I can, I'm going to weigh in because my understanding was that the committee met and they came to a consensus. So I'm hearing that there isn't a consensus. So I'm going to move Ralph, Board President Errico, if you could table this motion for tonight, and we'll go back to the drawing board because I don't want to waste time discussing this in public when I thought the committee came to a resolution. If that's not where we are, Mr. Board President, could you table that?
Ralph, you're on mute. Ralph, are you muted?
Yeah, Ralph's.
I am. Now I am. Okay. Do we need a motion to table this?
Yes.
Yeah, you should do a motion to table.
Okay. Do I have a motion to table?
Motion.
Chivy, and second, Jerry.
Mrs.
Roll
Maneker?
call.
Mrs. Maneker?
Yes.
Table. Mrs. Bodofsky?
Table.
Table. Okay. Mrs. Conway?
No.
Not the table?
Right.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes, to table.
Mrs. Maroney?
She's still having trouble.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
having issues.
All right. Mr. Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Errico?
No.
No, okay, we have 2 no's and we have 6 yeses, and Beth, I'm not sure.
Okay, it's
But
stable.
It does carry. It does carry, yes.
All right. Any other comments on any? Hold on, I'm pulling it up again. Any resolutions / reports? Item 10. Any board comments?
Yes, I do, but
Go
I'll
ahead,
wait for my
Mr.
turn.
Sheet.
I'll wait for my turn.
Go ahead,
You want-
you're good.
Okay, so, all right, so I do have I just want to make sure that we have the budget that's in here, okay? So I just want to make sure that this budget that we are proposing today, this is just to send to the state, right?
Absolutely. The county.
Okay, so,
Actually, the
I'm
county.
sorry. Okay, so I'm just want to put on the record as is, I cannot vote for this because we're asking for a lot of money. You know, I think we need the Finance Facility Committee needs to revisit this and just make sure that we have done absolutely necessary to make sure that the taxpayers are not getting the burden on this one, especially with what's going on with the coronavirus and everything. Everybody is very tight on this, and this is a huge increase. And as is right now, I can't vote for it, but it's okay. I'm going to vote for this to send to the county, just for the record that I like the FF committee to revisit this budget.
Fair enough. Shivy?
Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of just weigh in. I will also vote for sending the budget to the county, but obviously it's a very steep tax increase, and given the uncertainty around the coronavirus and all this unemployment situation happening, I think we really need to, we need to kind of work harder, and we have to definitely bring the tax rate down. And so I will be voting only to send it to the county, but then we need to work very diligently in getting the tax rate down.
Understood.
Yeah, Ralph, I also have the comments for calendar, but let's just finish up the budget that
Yeah.
I have comment on.
And again, I just want to make sure the public knows and everyone here is aware. The only thing we're doing here tonight is voting to send this to the county soup for approval, correct, Dan?
That's correct.
And this is not the final numbers by any means. It could be higher, it could be lower. Obviously, we know
No
it's not gonna be
higher, please.
I know
no
it's not going to
higher.
be higher, but I'm just saying, we still got, things to look at and work to do. But this is only to send to the county soup.
That's correct.
Any more comments on that?
Just me, it's a hope, as a reminder, you still have to have the budget hearing even after that, so.
Yes.
the public
Yes,
should know
we
that.
know. That's in
Yeah, we
May.
need to
Yes.
hear
Yeah, it
from
was
the
just a
public.
public comment, that's all.
Yep. When is the public portion, public meeting on this, Dan?
May 6th.
May 6th.
May 6th. Okay, so the public now knows May 6th. We will probably have one of these meetings if we're not allowed to be outside still. We'll probably have another virtual meeting May 6th, only public comment about the budget.
And when does this get approved? On what date by the board?
May
When do
6th.
we board vote it, Dan, after the public hearing?
May 6th is the day of the hearing.
Meeting.
That's, then we adopt it.
Gotcha. So we get public comment first and then we adopt it.
Correct.
All right, thank you. Any other comment on the budget? Thank you. All right, calendar, Jerry?
Yes, so I have an issue with the calendar as it is. We are
All
starting
three? All three?
I'm sorry?
Which one?
There's 3 calendars. Which one?
The school calendar.
Right, but there's 3 calendars, Jerry.
There's 3 calendars.
Yeah, there's one for next year, the year after, and the year after.
Well, I'm talking about next year. Okay.
Next year, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So we are starting before the holiday. Okay.
Which most districts are.
Yes, but we have never done that, and we're having the entire November off. Okay. A lot of parents and staff, they already have planned to have their days off before the holiday. So I don't know why we're taking a entire week off for the month of November. We had 3 days in the past, and if we move it back to the old way, then we can gain 3 days. And then we don't have to start before the holiday. And also the issue is with the graduation for the next school year. Graduating on Wednesday is already challenging because Thursday and Friday, the parents need to find childcare for the kids. And that's why we're trying to move the graduation to Friday to help the parents on that. There's no camp, no nothing, starts in the middle of the week. You know, is that because that Rutgers doesn't have the facility available for us on Wednesday, the 23rd, or you know, I know this Piscataway has a date after us. Usually they're on Thursday or Friday or Thursday. So if we gain a stretch to one more day to 23rd, then you know you got your 4 days back. Then we can start a school in you know, right after the holiday.
Jerry, just one point to let you know, we've started before Labor Day in Edison many times before.
Okay.
Maybe not in recent years, and it happens every like 4, 5, 6 year cycle, right, Dan?
No, we haven't.
We have.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
In the past 8 years, we
Yes,
haven't.
probably within the last 8 years we have. I don't know about sooner than that, but we have in Edison and in all districts started before Labor Day.
Yeah, but is there a
I'm just bringing up a point.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Is there a contract? Is that part of the contract that we have to start after the holiday, or no? I guess not.
No,
right?
no, we can't start before the 1st.
Before the 1st. Okay,
Right.
okay, all right. So okay, so yeah. So the thing that to me that why we're taking the entire week off for the week of November, the first week of November. I know there are 2 teacher conventions, but we have been using the other 3 days. And again, you know, graduating on Tuesday, you're putting the parents one more day to take care of their kids. I know they love their kids, especially right now they're going through this. But you know, finding childcare for 3 extra days, that's an additional burden. That's just my point of view.
Okay. So if we
Board President Errico, can I weigh in on that?
Go ahead.
Yes, please.
Just, we did have a calendar committee meeting and we invited all the associations and representatives from the board to attend as well. And we talked about all 3 calendars. If you'll see on the 2 following years, we do end on Friday.
Yes.
We tried to end on Friday this year, but we weren't able to do it because the date was taken the 18th. So then it would put it to the 25th, and then we get concerned about the heat and the temperature going that late into June. We did work with the associations, though all the units were invited to attend the meeting. And contractually, as Board President Errico said, the date we can start school and have teachers come back is the 1st of September, and we can't keep them after June 30th, according to the code as it's written now, without any exceptions. The reason for the week in November is it's a presidential election, and we would want to have off that day of school because of all the traffic coming in and out of the building. And then having kids coming in on Monday and Wednesday, historically, from my past experience, and I don't remember specifically if it was in Edison or not, you had high absentee rates during that time if you're going to be out on Tuesday, as well as that teachers convention on Thursday and Friday. So that's the thought process that was involved in it. There was a committee that came up with these calendars. As with all calendars, are they the absolute best? No, because there is no perfect calendar. But I think they do meet our needs as best we can and try to satisfy everyone, although we can't always satisfy everyone.
Any other comments? Okay.
But Ralph, yeah, for November, yeah, I agree. The election day should be off, but before we have always had Monday and Wednesday off.
Not always,
too, right?
We
Not
even had
always.
we even had Tuesday.
We've had full weeks under
I'm not
Dr.
talking
O'Malley.
about 20 years always, but in the last
under
5
Dr.
years.
O'Malley, under Dr. O'Malley, we had the full week off.
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
Not in the last 5 years, right?
2015, to be exact.
Oh, that's
So
7
what about
years
those
ago.
parents who already, parents and teachers who already scheduled their vacation through Labor Day because we always start for after Labor Day.
You're gonna have to reschedule. Teachers are contracted, so they gotta come in when we, vote on the calendar.
Yeah, I understand. If we can help them, we can help them. The
No, I
thing
understand, but
yeah. The thing that the other things you can look at the tail end of the graduation. It's on Tuesday, so
right.
the parents are going to watch the kids for 3 more days.
No, I get that, Jerry. I'm with you there.
We have 2 days off in November, in the first week of November, then we only need to push the one day in the Wednesday, right? Just one more day in June. Then then nobody has to change their schedule for taking days off before Labor Day, for having to come to school before Labor Day.
So if we take the Monday, I'm sorry, if we take that Monday and Wednesday, if we have the kids come in Monday and Wednesday of Teachers Convention Week, we gain 2 days, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Let's just do Tuesday. Why
we can't be in school on
Tuesday is
Tuesday.
election day.
Yeah.
So Monday, Wednesday, we gain 2 days, and then we push the end of school year one more day to Wednesday.
Or we could push the start of school to the 8th, I believe, after Labor Day. We can't have it on both ends.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right. Now, Ralph, now we have 3 days before Labor Day for school. That's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay, yes.
So if we save 2 days in November, having the kids come to school in November, that's 2 days. We push the end of school to a Wednesday, June 23rd, that's a Wednesday. So that's 3 days. Then nobody has to change their schedule before Labor Day.
I mean, I think it's a good idea to kind of have the whole week off in November because, if anybody wants to go out for vacation and things like that, and especially if kids only come in for 1 day in the whole week, like, the whole week is off and then you have to come in on Wednesday, which kind of, if anybody wants to go for a vacation or anything like that, it's kind of a nice week to be out. In any case, teachers will be out on for the convention. So I would feel like,
that's a vacation that they haven't scheduled, but the Labor Day could be a vacation that many people have already scheduled. You're asking them to change all their schedule and then schedule another vacation in order to schedule another vacation for November. They have to change their vacation before Labor Day. That's something that's probably already happened.
I mean, it's only March.
President Errico, if I could just weigh in.
Sure.
I think, like most things, the discussion where we get down to the nitty gritty where the rubber meets the road happened already in committee. And all of you were invited to attend. I don't think the public forum is where we decide which day goes where. I think
you want to table it. We can discuss it again.
No, I'd rather you vote, and if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass, because we invited all the board members to come to the meeting to discuss it. We had all the associations there. I think then to get into which day was here or that day, quite honestly, I think it's disrespectful to the committee that dedicated their time and putting these calendars together. So,
Dr. Bregan, quick question. Did all the units agree to this?
They did.
Okay.
Does
who was on the committee? Who was on this calendar committee? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of any committee meeting for the calendar.
We invited any board member that wanted to come.
Who showed up? Do you know,
who
Doc?
Who actually showed
I'd
up?
have to look at the committee notes to find out about that. To be honest with you, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I could find that information and share it with the board.
the only stickler is that last day of school, getting clearance that we're still using Rutgers?
We
On
do
the
have clearance-
22nd?
We have clearance for the dates we have listed now.
Oh, that's a big item.
Well, is 23rd still available? Because my understanding 23rd is.
I'd have to check on that, Jerry. I don't know that off the top of my head. Mr. Sheehan, I don't know. I could check.
Plus, we got to
Okay, well-
remember, by keeping the kids in the school for 2 or 3 more days, it's very hot in June.
Yeah.
It's just
And it
one
could be
day.
hot, and it could be hot before Labor Day too, granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be raining. But it's either way, it's just one day. From moving it from Tuesday to Wednesday, we're not moving it from Tuesday to Friday.
It's a half day anyway, so.
Right, they're all half days, yeah, the last few days. All right, well, we'll have to take a vote as a board.
Can
Let's
I
see
ask
what-
a question on a
Oh, go ahead,
different?
go ahead, Val.
This question is for the 2022 calendar, where I see that Diwali and Teachers Convention are scheduled together. I have a question. If a teacher is celebrating Diwali and they're supposed to go to the convention, like, how does that work?
They're not required to go to the convention.
Not mandatory.
It's not mandatory, Fal. They can go if they like, but it's not a mandatory. It used to be many, many, many years ago, but it's not anymore.
Okay, but if it's a professional development day, that's a different thing. They are required to make that up, right?
Correct.
But it's not the same thing?
No.
The convention?
No.
Not the
Okay.
same
No, it's
thing,
not.
no.
Okay.
All right. Anything else before we get into the public comments? All right. So at this time, we're into public comments. Now, public, bear with me because there's a way to do this. And I think I could, if you press the participant button or the more button, I'm sorry, all the way to the right on the top is 3 little dots. And you could raise your hand and then I could recognize you as you raise your hand, I believe. So bear with me. Let me see if I got any raised hands here. Hold on. I'm scrolling to everyone. And then Mr. Barker, you're going to have to unmute some of these people as I call them.
That is correct.
I don't see any raised hand. Any public comments?
I see Maria.
Maria, okay. Can you unleash Maria?
Unmute.
Thanks,
Yes.
Ralph.
Unmute. I'm sorry, unleash, unmute. Sorry about that. All right, is Maria
That's
on?
okay. Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Maria,
Can you
what
hear
do you
me?
have to say? Yeah, I hear you. Name and address, please.
Okay. Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
Oh, Maria, nice to hear you.
Oh, thank you. And thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate it, even though the first time I tried to get in, I couldn't hear anybody. So I had to call in on my cell phone.
Okay.
But I have a couple of questions. With the recent development of kids going on their computers, has that been any impact to the schools as to thinking about further taking the learning on the computers and instead of worrying about those snow days?
Doc?
Yeah, I think this is one of the first times that we've encountered this where the State Department of Education is going to give us credit for the days if the students participate remotely like they are now. There was a proposal to do that, I think, in Pascack Valley in northern Jersey for snow days a number of years ago, and the state never gave it. So I think moving forward with this may be a new paradigm, and they haven't said anything about snow days in the future, but they have determined that we will get credit for these virtual days, and hopefully they'll become more and more productive as we go on.
Because my thinking is with trying to solve the overcrowding problem, if we could use this in some type of a way to lessen the kids, especially in the high schools, lessen the kids that are in the high schools so they can learn the same way, but they don't all have to be in the same classroom at the same time.
I would say it's definitely something to consider as we move forward.
Yeah, a proposal going to the future. My other question, my daughter is a senior. Have we made any plans about graduation this year? Have we made any plans as, all right, if we can't have the graduation in June, can we have some type of ceremony that everybody can be together in August? I don't know.
We haven't crossed that threshold yet, but we will have all those options discussed when we get closer. You know, my fingers are crossed that we won't have to do that. But if that is the case at that point, we will come up with some type of contingency with the full board discussing it and making a decision as best we can.
Yeah, my son was supposed to graduate in May, and there has something called a virtual graduation, which I don't know, but we were doing some type of petition to see if they could postpone it because it's such a thing, you know, graduation, and everyone was looking forward to it. if they could have some, or if you could have some type of ceremony, if we can't have it at that time, if we could have it at another time.
I understand totally, and I think the board is committed to doing what we can to make it as, what's the word I'm looking for, to make it as normal as possible for our students.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for doing this. I appreciate it.
Ralph, I see that you're muted, Mr. Errico. I think Ralph Barker is working on that right now.
Who,
Mr. Errico is muted.
Sue is raising her hand.
okay.
Thank you, Ralph. Can we unmute Sue Campione, I think her name is, under?
Sue,
I think her hand is raised.
I don't see Sue's hand raised. I see.
She's physically raising it.
I see some hands raised. I don't see Sue, though. I don't know if she's under an address or a name. I'm looking.
She's under Sue.
It's under Sue?
But I don't see a hand.
If you flip over for me.
Right, but I don't see a hand raised. Should I unmute Sue?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you can, please.
Sue's live.
Sue, go ahead. Name and address.
Hi, first of all, it's good to see you all well. I hope everybody stays that way. Just a couple of comments on the calendar. The first thing is all three of them, the December break, it like for the next year's calendar, it says December 24th through the January 1st, but the 23rd is blacked out, and it's blacked out on all three calendars, but it doesn't say that we're off the 23rd. So I just wanted to make sure
Early dismissal.
that it's correct. Do you
In
see
black
that?
and white, it looks
So
black.
it starts being blacked out on the 23rd, but the under December, it says the 24th is the break.
Oh, Ms. Conway, go ahead.
Oh, so the
on ours,
23rd is
it's
an
colored.
early dismissal, all three of those days?
Yes.
Those are early dismissal days, Sue.
Yeah, it just, if you see it in black and white, it shows all
Okay.
black.
Okay.
But my copy is a colored
It looks-
copy.
It's an early dismissal on the
23rd is the
23rd.
early dismissal.
Okay. Okay, thank you, because, yeah, on this, it just looked like it was blacked out. And also, just as my way in from the discussion of the calendar, in talking to a lot of teachers, just so that you know, every single one that I spoke to wanted to start before Labor Day. They felt they had the whole summer off, and they really, really like having the week off in November. We haven't had it in quite some time, and they'd rather spend time with their children going away then than having the day, starting before Labor Day is not an issue. And it gets very, very hot in those buildings. So one day does make a big difference when you're in that hot building, but when you have over a year to find childcare, I don't think that that's going to be that big an issue for people. So that's just my little
All right.
opinion.
Thank you, Sue.
All right. Stay well, everybody.
Thank you. Be safe. All right, Mr. Barker, the next person I see is Glenn Anderson.
Okay. Okay, Glenn is live.
Glenn, go ahead.
Good evening, board. Thank you for doing this. I don't know if you can hear me well. I'm sitting in a parking lot using Wi-Fi from a laundromat because I cannot afford computer access at home. So that being said, my children I have a senior and a second grader. They have not been able to get online all last week. How are we going to rectify this?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Barker, or even Doc. Didn't someone offer free Wi-Fi? Optimum or someone? Doc?
Want me to answer? Oh,
Okay,
okay.
go ahead, Mr. Barker.
Actually, we had a couple options. When everything started happening with the coronavirus, Optimum came out with an emergency Wi-Fi, but they came out with that too prematurely because it overwhelmed the network because they just limited the bandwidth. But we do have an agreement with Optimum as far as their Wi-Fi internally. And we provided that for Mr. Anderson, but unfortunately, it looks like where he lives, he's not getting good enough signal. So Mr. Anderson and I worked all last week trying to get him home Wi-Fi, but we're still at a situation where signal's not strong enough for him to connect.
No, I can sit in my backyard and get a very weak signal. Kind of rough to do on today. It's a little damp. But in the meantime, my kids are falling behind. Mr. Ross, the principal, is putting together some paperwork for my senior to have mailed out to her. And I have the utmost respect for teachers, for all you people, for what you do. But this is not a new problem. I have never had Wi-Fi, and I've been going through this for years. I sit at the library with my kids, the public library, on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights till 9 p.m. when they close, and on just about every Saturday when they have homework to do. And my oldest is 23. I've been doing this for about 8 years. 1 year, the school gave out hotspots, which worked. The following year, my daughter got a hotspot. It was taken back about a month later, and that was the last we ever heard of it. And I was told to use the free Optimum Wi-Fi floating in the air. So I gave up.
I'll take a look at this first thing tomorrow morning, and we'll explore any and all options, whether that means in the short run getting some paper assignments out to your daughter. If I got to deliver them to your mailbox myself, I'll take care of that.
I'll go to pick up anything I need. I mean, I do what I can.
No, I understand, but let us do what we can, and it'll be first thing priority for me tomorrow morning, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Anderson, if you could just email Dr. Bragan in the morning or tonight, and he'll pick it up in the morning, and then leave him your contact information so you could have a discussion.
Okay, that'd be fine. Would I be able to get his email address? I just can't find it. I don't know. I'm computer illiterate.
Glenn, I'm going to find you. I got it.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you very much.
I have his email. I'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night. Stay
You're
safe.
welcome.
Stay well.
All right,
too.
be safe. Thank you. Next up is Davdeeps. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. It says Davdeep's iPhone.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Your name and address, please.
Yeah, hi. This is Navdeep, is my wife's name. This is Akhil Malhotra. My address is 6 Eileen Way, Addison.
Okay. And only on resolutions only, please.
Yeah, so for the resolution only. So I just want to raise the issue about the budget, the big spike in the budget.
Okay, there is, excuse me. There is no discussion on the budget yet because it hasn't been approved. We only approved, we haven't even voted on it yet. We haven't done anything with the budget except to go to the county for their approval. And then we need to, as Mr. Shee said in open session, go back to do some homework.
Okay, so when we can able to submit our comments?
May 6th, it'll be a public hearing.
Okay, and when it will be the final, like voting?
May 6th also.
So that means like our comment will be ignored anyways because.
No, that's not true.
Make up their mind.
You're saying that, but we're going to listen to all comments on May 6th. We may even have a new proposal by May 6th.
And will it be better, worse, or like how does it work?
I don't know. We have to discuss it as a board.
Okay, but like when we submit certain amount of money to the county, right? Will it
Yes.
be up? Is it gonna go up? Like when you come with the amended proposal, or is it gonna go down?
It can't go on any higher.
Okay, so that's the ceiling now. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. I don't know if I really want to recognize this person, but I guess I have to since it's a public comment. But it's Mr. Brusher. So, do you have a minute, Mr. Brusher?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes,
I hear
loud
you.
and clear.
All right. And I'm going to break protocol here. This isn't about your resolutions. But you gave instructions to raise our hand and told us to look up in the right-hand corner.
Right.
But on my laptop, I had to first click on participants on the lower bar, and then I was able to raise my hand.
Okay.
Good point.
But just
Oh,
my
you know what?
comment is thank you guys very much for doing this for us in the public.
You're welcome. That's it?
That's it.
Oh, you're nice. Thank you, Mr. Brusher.
That's a resolution only. That's not part of the resolution.
It's not part of the resolution, but if you're going to make a nice comment like that, I'll let you go.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night. Be safe.
Enjoy. Thank you.
All right. The only other hand I see now is Vidya Srinivasan.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Name and address, please.
Yeah, so my name is Vidya and I'm from 7 Bluebird Court, Edison.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is about the grading procedures and everything. So is this going to be the same as when our kids attended, normal school? Or will there be any kind of flexibility or anything in the whole, like the procedures and everything? Because everything is online and I'm not sure if it's interactive.
Dr. Bragan?
It's a great question. It's something that we're working on. We actually plan to meet this week and discuss how we're going to assess the students' progress in this new paradigm with the online format. For some classes, it could be very similar to what the students are used to, depending on their grade level and subject content area. For other classes, it'll be very different. So we haven't decided that yet, but trust me that we're going to take into consideration the circumstances under which we're all working right now. So rest assured, we will do whatever is fair for everyone as to the extent possible.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the procedure could possibly change, right? So we're gonna re-vote on it?
No, I don't think.
Not a grouping procedure. She was talking about how we're going to assess the students as far as grading.
Report card grades.
In the short term on assessing the current work that they're submitting. I believe that's what Vidya was talking about.
Yes. Okay. I don't see any more hands up. Do you, Ralph?
I do not.
Okay. So we will proceed now to, what do we do? Do we do vote now? Dan?
Yes, we already voted on the minutes. We're on the board secretary's report.
So now we vote on the resolutions.
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion on item 10, number 1?
What about number 9? What about number 9, board secretary's report?
Board secretary report.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. Oh, sorry. Number 9, board secretary's report. Motion?
Motion.
Jerry? And Elizabeth, I see that hand, Elizabeth. You're in my lower left-hand corner of my Brady Bunch screen.
Oh, you have one hand raised. One more hand raised.
I can't see everyone's. We'll get to them in public comment. Hold on. We could do. Well, let's do this first. Board secretary's report, then I'll get to Karup's.
Okay. Mrs. Madiker? Mrs. Madiker? Mrs. Badovsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Conway?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
So are we going to table that the
No, this is just board secretary.
Board secretary report.
Okay,
only.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes.
All right. Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mrs. Maroney? Still no problem? Okay.
Yeah.
Mrs. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
So carried.
Okay, before we go into voting, I have one more hand up. Ralph Corrupts?
Yeah, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are. Name and address, please.
Yeah, this is Karupusamy Subbiagaonda, 223 Hidden Value, Edison.
Thank you. Only on resolutions, please.
Yeah, but one thing I want, because I've been trying to join this meeting, but unfortunately I couldn't because I was waiting from 6:15. But luckily I just joined only 20 minutes back. I was watching actually the discussion you were having, right? So do we have any idea actually what we discussed? Something I want to know because I just joined only in the middle. First point. Does it make sense? And
do you have any questions on the resolutions?
yeah, the one question, even before going to the resolution, I don't know what we discussed, right? That's one thing. My understanding is that we are going to continue this online for some time. That's my understanding, right?
Correct.
So if that is the case, I have a couple of questions. Can I go ahead with my suggestion or something like this? Okay. So one thing is, I know that teachers are giving the online tutorials kind of things, right? So is there any plan to at least have a weekly one, maybe face-to-face discussion with the students? Maybe that will really help because I know because we are working remotely, but even I'm also actually monitoring my son, what exactly he's getting and he's doing, right? But it is good actually to have a teacher to have some weekly ones or maybe 2-week ones kind of face-to-face interaction to understand what actually the kid is doing. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. We could look into that. Dr. Bragan could work with our academic officers to see. I know teachers are using various formats, Google Meet, Google Classroom. Some are more face-to-face than others. So that's something we could look into, Dr. Bragan, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
But overall, I think I really appreciate. I think thanks for everyone. Okay. So be safe.
You're welcome. We will definitely look into that.
Let's hope. I think we will.
Yeah, we're learning a lot of new things now. So, all right, I think he left. Okay. Now we're going to go into the voting portion. I don't see any other hands. So, okay. Now we're to resolutions number 10. Number 1. Can I have a motion?
Motion to carry.
All right, I'm going to pick Elizabeth this time and go with Jerry. And then I'll pick other 2 later. So just on number 1, personal labor relations, personnel report. Dan?
With 2 corrections?
With the corrections of
Page 2 and
TBD on 2
7.
employees, right.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes.
Mrs. Podolsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Conway?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Mr. Maroney? Still no, okay. Mrs. Patel?
Yes.
And Mr. Errico?
Yes.
So carried.
Okay. Number 2, A, B, C, and D. Motion.
Motion.
Can you remind me what this is? I don't have access to.
I'm sorry. Number 2 is administration. It's under administration is March 10th, bond referendum summary. The 2020 budget hearing scheduled for May 6th. Approval of school calendars, National Autism Awareness Month, and establishment of law enforcement unit for the public schools of Edison Township.
Okay. Yeah, yes for all. And this, we're just voting on the budget going to the county, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, yes on everything.
Okay, motion, Shivi? Motion for Shivi and
me.
Anyone else? Carol, second.
Mrs. Madiker?
Yes, and we're just sending it to the county, but we can revise the budget, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay, thanks. Yes for everything.
Mrs. Podolsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Conway?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes, except the grouping procedure and the calendar.
That's the grouping procedures next, Jerry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
The calendars are on here, though.
Yeah, he said no on the calendars.
Okay. All right. Mrs. Maroney, if you're there yet, no? Mrs. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
So carried.
Too bad we can't have Mrs. Maroney's picture up here and see her thumbs up or something. Okay, now, number 3, curriculum and instruction. The only item under that was revised grouping procedures, and we need to make a motion to table.
We did that already.
We did that already.
Okay, so we don't have to vote on that. Okay.
Oh.
So Jerry, you okay with that? We have it tabled.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. Number 4, pupil special services report, professional services, 2019-20 school year. And we might as well throw finance in there, finance resolution. Can I have a motion for number 4 and 5?
Motion.
Jerry? And
Yes.
Elizabeth. And Elizabeth, thank you.
Mr. Madiker?
Yes.
Mr. Podolsky?
Yes.
Mrs. Conway?
Yes.
Dr. Chen?
Yes.
Mrs. Peng?
Yes.
Mr. Shi?
Yes.
Ms. Maroney? Still no? Okay. Mrs. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Errico?
Yes.
So carried.
Okay. Now we are to committee reports. Hold on, I'm trying to find mine. All right. Athletic committee. We met on February 24th at the high school. In attendance was myself, Mrs. Maroney, Ms. Payne, Mr. DeCoco, and Miss McKeon. Items discussed.
Ralph, Mrs. Penn
Yes.
is the chair of the committee, right?
Oh, is she? I'm sorry. Oh, yes, she is. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Payne. I'm sorry to steal your thunder.
No, it's okay. I don't have the report.
It's all the way at the end. If you like me to read it, I could. I got it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Ms. Pang is the chair, by the way, of this committee. We discussed a lot of things. This committee hasn't been together in probably 9 years. So we discussed a lot of different things. Volleyball in the middle school. We would like to see more sports in the middle schools, volleyball being one of them, of which many we discussed. The athletic directors are looking into the cost because we need to set up volleyball nets in the gyms for them to participate. So we're looking at something like that. The girls would play in the fall, the boys would play in the spring. We'll see how many other middle schools have programs, but even if it's our own 4 middle schools, they get 6 matches a year or something like that. So it's something we discussed. We're looking at maybe, again, depending on what goes on the rest of this school year, starting it in the fall of 2020. So we'll look at that. Also discussed was the expansion of the track and field program at the middle schools. The committee discussed the possibility of developing track teams in the middle school. There were some problems that were brought up, not enough facilities or practice space. So we're looking at that. We'll also look at maybe starting an elementary track team, possibly in the older grades, maybe grades 4 and 5. So we looked at that. Yoga, the committee questioned where can we put yoga in the curriculum? Taught maybe the gym classes or in the fitness centers that we have at both high schools, and even maybe in the middle schools. Maybe like at Herbert Hoover, I know there's some space in that back room where they had the wrestling mats and things like that. It was brought up maybe we could do it in there. We discussed the softball field at Woodrow Wilson Middle School. Again, we were hoping to play softball this year. Doesn't look like that may happen, but we need to get those fields up and running so they're safe for the kids to play. Cricket, we're also looking at cricket fields. We are also looking at possibly creating cricket clubs, if not teams, at the middle school and on up, so we could build a program. And I believe personally, someday in the future, the NJSIAA, which is the sports of the state program, will have cricket as an actual sport. So we're looking at that. Thanksgiving football game. One of my bones of contentions. They explained to us why it couldn't be done. Both ADs, I was told that, didn't like the plan that the county or the state came up with, but that's something I'm going to still push. I think it's tradition. And I think since we play each other, we could determine our own fate, as far as if we play that game or not. So that's still open for discussion. It was also discussed some of the needs the athletic directors brought up. One of the needs they need with all these new sports and activities going on, and especially if we're going to keep adding sports, a need for maybe another athletic trainer to be at the middle schools or split amongst the middle schools, which is something we didn't talk about in the budget in finance facilities, but something that was brought up at the committee. The athletic budgets, they say, are very tight and hasn't been raised in a long time. Mainly the coaches' stipends they've spoken about. So it's something we're going to look at during negotiations, obviously, because that's a negotiated item. And all coaches, we discussed. There was a question if coaches are certified in CPR or AED or concussion courses or first aid. All active coaches are certified in CPR, concussion, and AED certifications. And that ended our meeting. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes. So, couple of questions. So, for the volleyball, are we set to start volleyball for the next school year?
Well, I'm hoping we are. One of the things that was brought up is the ADs were going to look into prices. Now we're not in school, so I don't know what they can do from home. Maybe they can still do this, Dr. Bragan. They were estimating the cost of about $80,000 to have the 4 middle schools up and running for volleyball. And basically what it is the nets have to be anchored into the gym floor, so it's safe.
Ralph, I have a question.
Okay, and the other one is it's not on here, but it's part of the athletic thing. What happened with the red field?
Oh, they are still working on it because I drive by it every so often.
Are they working on it?
Yes, they are.
They are, okay.
Yep. As I didn't go today because it was pouring rain. They probably weren't working on it. But Friday, they were out there grading the stone and grading the dirt. So they are still working on it.
Does Mr. Shi mean the baseball field over at Edison High School?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the only red field we have in the whole state.
And that will be the only red field in the state, by the way.
We will look into the volleyball at middle school. I'm not sure that was budgeted for next year, but I will take a look, and Dan and I will review that.
Okay.
Now,
yes.
And there was also, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Jerry,
Yeah,
finish up.
go ahead, Elizabeth. Yeah. Okay. So the other things that we talked about is that I don't know if it was discussed. Artificial strip for the crickets for a couple middle schools.
Right.
The pitch. I think I gave you a couple proposals. That if we can, I don't know if we gonna go ahead and do this or not. I don't know if the FF committee is gonna have this in their budget for the next school year. But something that we should be looking into. Because I know they moved the pitch, so it's not interfering with the other sports. I hope that's something that we can look into it.
Okay. Who's the finance and facilities person? That's Elizabeth.
Huh?
Please put that on your notes, Elizabeth, please.
Yeah. Can I just ask a question? It's real quick. The athletic committee. Is that an official committee or is that an ad hoc committee?
That's an official committee.
I don't remember it. Be honest with you, I don't remember us having an official athletic committee for years. And I think that then we need to address, and if that is the case, I think the policy committee needs to address this, because I think there's some things that are missing from official committees. I had been talking to Mrs. Badowski once about different committees, and she informed me that some of these committees aren't even official committees.
What do you mean by official?
I know we
Because-
have ad hoc committees to address community relations and the referendum and things like that. But if we are to address an athletic committee, we need to make it an official committee. 'Cause I think it's important.
Yeah, who's talking?
Committees. I have been
Oh, you're
talking
echoing.
to
I'm sorry.
Mrs. Badowski once about different committees, and she informed me that some of these committees aren't even official committees.
What do you mean by official?
I know we have ad hoc committees to address community relations and the referendum, things like that.
Why are we getting the feedback?
I don't know.
Anyway, Elizabeth, just to let you know, this committee was posted when I sent out the committees in the beginning.
Right.
It was a committee that I formed as board president, I guess. So it's not an ad hoc committee, it is actual committee. We had this prior, it was disbanded under previous administrations. Anything that needs to be discussed in this committee from any board member, please send to Shannon, she's the chair, and we'll discuss it without a doubt. And I think we have a spot for one more board member if they like.
But I'm just saying that I had questioned whether we need to address the different committees to make them official.
Oh,
I don't
how do
see
you-
anything
I-
wrong with it. We just need
Right.
to make it official.
Gotcha.
Right, Carol?
Yes.
Okay. Any any other questions?
Look into as in the policy committee to just make sure that it looks good.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else? Anything else? Jerry's muted, so Ralph Barker, can you mute Jerry Shee?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, thank you.
No. Yep.
You're back. I hear you.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, yeah.
Anything else for the athletic committee? Who's that?
Carol.
Okay. Carol? Okay, let's move on to the food service committee.
All right. Food Service Committee, we had a meeting on February 28th at the new Education Center. In attendance, myself, Mrs. Penn, Mrs. Maroney, Mr. Patel, Dr. Bragan, and Dan Mashad. In Chartwell, we have Jean, Patricia, Felicia, and Guy Mastragalo. He is the chef over there. The committee discussed vegetarian and halal options that are offered as schools. The committee discussed the state school rating, which food service is a factor, and ways that Chartwell could improve the district's food service. The committee asked Chartwell what their plans were to improve students' participation in the lunch and the breakfast program. To that end, the committee scheduled a meeting with the school's PTA and PTOs to inquire about menu preferences and to give them an opportunity to sample some of the meal choices currently offered at the school. We actually scheduled that the early February because there's some time conflict, so we moved to, the early March, then we moved to the end of March. Now with the coronavirus, I don't think this is happening, okay? Chartwell explained the differences between a full reimbursable lunch option and an a la carte meal, of which there's no state or federal reimbursement. The committee discussed the option of submitting a new request for proposal for food service for the next school year. We try to see if other vendors will be interested in serving our district, given, even without the coronavirus, given the short time, we cannot do it for the next school year, the beginning of next school year. So, but for the following school year, we will be sending out an RFP for food services. We're gonna have some vendors to bid on it. The meeting was adjourned at 1:25 p.m. Thank you, Board President.
You're welcome. Any questions for Mr. Shee? right. I'll move on to the Township Liaison Committee. That meeting was held on February 28th at the Ed Center. Present was myself, Mr. Shi, Ms. Maroney, Ms. Patel, Mr. Mashad, Dr. Bragan, Sam Joshi, and Mr. Deal phoned in on a phone conference with us. So there were 4 of us and 2 council members. Discussed was the committee question where the Board of Education stands with Stelton School. Mr. Deal said he would find out and talk to the council on the council side, the attorney on the council side, about allowing the board to use it. And one of the options was that we possibly could use that for our kindergarten program, full day, possibly. So we're still waiting for an answer on Stelton School. The board gets paid twice a month for the tax levy. It was questioned whether this could be changed to once a month. Mr. Deal also again said he would speak to the mayor about this matter. Have not heard back. Mr. Deal said he will look into what equipment would be available to help us paving parking lots. What I was told that there is equipment available, but not enough manpower to operate it at the township level, is what we were told. Residents are concerned that buildings are being torn down and that the property is split up and more than one house is built on it. The laws on the zoning board have to be looked at, and that's a council concern or issue or a mayoral issue. So that's all on the council side. What was discussed was the Mount Laurel compliance. It was questioned whether or not Edison is in compliance with state for subsidized building. Again, the council is going to look into that. The town council is in charge of the master plan, which is currently being updated, we were told. It was questioned whether or not the board or the township could charge builders for impact fees when putting up new houses. As we all know, at this point, it is not allowed, but that's something that the council or the state assembly or a senator or whoever can look into that. The old Exxon Mobil plant recently demolished is now a pilot program. The second one Edison has. I know Mr. Shi was very adamant about this, that the Board of Ed needs to get some funding from those pilot programs to help us out with our overcrowding situation. And he made it very clear that this money belongs to the taxpayers and all the taxpayers. Sidewalk extensions are needed on Talmadge Road so that the students can cross the street safely on their way to Woodbrook School, and underneath the train trestle on Sutton Lane where kids need to go to school at John Marshall safely. That's something the council is going to look into on Talmadge. Unfortunately, the one on Sutton's Lane is NJ Transit property, and that's something that would take forever to get approval from NJ Transit. So, but something we could look into. Non-residents going to Edison schools. Can parents be fined for sending their children to Edison schools illegally? You know, I made a suggestion that maybe we increase our fee from people emailing us about possible non-residents living from 200 to, I said 1,000, but that's something else that can be discussed. But I said if I have a neighbor that I know is sending kids from their house, which they don't really live here, they live with their dad, let's say, in Perth Amboy, for $200 I may not do it, but for $1,000 I sure will. So it's something we discussed at the meeting. Joint Community Relations meeting. Mrs. Maroney is the chair. She was saying that she's going to contact Ms. Freeman, the council president, to meet and combine efforts. Mr. Joshi asked the board if they had a list of shared services that the council could help with. I know Dan was going to work on that. Dudash Park on May Street is not used often as a large piece of property. Is there a possibility of acquiring that land to build a school on? It's a nice size piece of property. Again, the town's going to look into it because it's town-owned at this point. Snow removal, residents do not always get their driveway. I think Mr. Shi brought this up. Residents do not always clean their property, especially near the high school, especially near J.P. Stevens, where students are forced to walk in the street. It's extremely dangerous. There's not enough manpower to enforce the ordinances at this time, but Mr. Deal said during snowstorms, we could possibly have police officers in those specific areas remind residents that they need to clean their sidewalk. Mr. Joshi asked for a list of all schools that are currently overcrowded and by how much. John P. Stevens being the most overcrowded, followed by Lincoln School, was the information we gave him from Dan. Mr. Joshi mentioned there's a 5.5 acre unused property on the campus of Middlesex County College. The president of the college will be contacted regarding this matter. So I'm assuming Mr. Joshi is going to contact them on that 5 acres. And the Clara Barton expansion was discussed. And that was it. Questions or comments?
No, there's more.
More.
Hold on.
A couple more bullet points. 3 more.
That's all I got for mine.
No, there's 3 more.
The next page says the Transportation Committee.
No, okay. There's 3 more bullet points.
Go ahead,
This is
Mr.
why-
You got them?
Yeah. Talmadge Road has a vacant 9.2 acre parcel of land, some of which is on wetland. The 9.5 acre will be adequate to build an elementary school. Mr. Joshi will explore this area as well as many other unused land. Mr. Joe Coyle and Mr. Brescher have been speaking to an attorney about setting up an educational trust foundation. Mrs. Maroney reported that she attended a training session on this issue at the New Jersey School Board Association a few years ago. Floyd Street near J.P. Stevens is in terrible condition. There are no sidewalks on that street, and a lot of children walk to school using the street. The board is requesting that this street be repaved as soon as possible from the township. The meeting was adjourned at 6:28 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Shi. I was Mr. Neal's couple items. Go ahead, Chevy.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to, I didn't hear which street did Jerry mention in the last bullet?
This is it's called Floyd Street. That's a small street parallel with the Grove. Intersects with near Dover.
That's the one I was also going to mention.
That's a little street.
Yeah, it does not have any sidewalk.
No sidewalk. It's
Yeah.
horrible road condition.
Yeah,
And I just want to clarify one other thing that the board president stated about the township equipment for paving the school parking lots and stuff. We just want the township, when they bid out the work for those pavings, we just want them to add our requirements as part of the bid as well. So, but we will still pay for those pavings, but when they bid out, put our request on it, see if we could get a better deal. So that's just want to clarify.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on Township Liaison?
I just one comment, about the shared services. I think we need to explore that, and that might help us in, just substantial tax savings.
Yeah, agree.
Of the services.
Okay.
And just out of curiosity, how much land is there at the Dudash Park that you just mentioned?
I'm gonna guess off the top of my head, probably 15 acres.
Okay.
Just off the top of my head, but I could get that information.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. Then we have lastly the Transportation Committee report, and I believe that's Mrs. Podolsky. Is that who's in charge of that committee? I'm sorry.
Dr. Chen.
Oh, Dr. Chen.
No.
Where are you?
Hi. So the Transportation Committee met on March the 10th and starting at noon. And the attendants include Ms. Podolsky, myself, Mr. Shi, Superintendent Dr. Bergen, BA, Mr. Michelle, and Transportation Supervisor, Mr. Batista, and Manager of the Enrollment and the Data Systems, Mr. Benedict. So first we discussed about the bus cleaning issue because of this coronavirus. So Edison drivers are cleaning the buses on a daily and as needed basis. Also, all the contractors have been contacted by email, and contractors have responded indicating various methods of cleaning and sanitizing are being employed on as needed basis. And then we discussed some bus route issues. So parents have some issues about some bus routes, like some of them are getting late because of the weather or a substitute driver, and some bus are like moved prior to all the students being seated, and sometimes the gas fumes can be smelled. So we're checking on those things, and we'll remind the contractor to notify the department if the bus is getting late, and if there are any issues with the bus. So we're looking into that. And also for the private bus, is contracted and paid for by the parents directly, and we don't have control over it. But the transportation department is looking into identifying how many private buses are currently servicing Edison schools. About the bus route, Edison has taken back 4 bus routes, and a different provider is handling an additional bus route because of the one of the contractors didn't meet our expectations. And also we were forcing the contractors to handle routes they agreed to underbid. And also two additional subscription bus routes have been added to Menlo Park Elementary School and JP Stevens. For the equipment, since October 2019, we repaired 6 buses and put them back into service, and added 2 new 54 passenger buses. For the athletic events and the summer program busing, we are currently bringing as much work back to the district as possible in areas listed. For example, in February 2020, 61 athletic transportation jobs handled by Edison drivers. We're setting up ESY and summer transportation to be handled primarily by our own bus drivers. For the personnel, we added 4 drivers and 1 aide, and 2 additional drivers and additional aides are planned for this month. Although I don't know for the when the school is closed, what I can do about that. And also an additional secretary is added in January to handle the phone calls. Staff and the driver meetings being held to review office procedures. And about the Versatrans, the Versatrans geotab tracking is installed, and RFID readers are installed in 10 buses. Student card should be brought there within a week for testing. And also we training set for the staff. For contractors and the vendors, we're reviewing the contracts with them. And communications, contractors have been notified to call and email the department by 7 a.m. if they're aware of bus running late or any busing issue. The department will send a notice to parents, and the school will making all the parents aware of the busing issue. And for the coming year, 2020 to 21, the parents will be able to print out their bus passes online at the parent portal. And also the transportation department will send out email to the parents to the subscription bus students to survey their interest in their service for the next school year, and the price will not exceed $600 per year. And and the subscription bus application and payment services will also be available online. So that's all. The meeting adjourned at 12:59 p.m.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Ralph, can you unmute Shibby?
Yeah, I just want to add something that, if we were not going to this a virtual meeting, if we were actually still having a meeting in the education department, Mr. Benedict would have done a presentation about the VersaTran, about the RFID reader, and the bus tracking, for us. But unfortunately, due to the coronavirus and stuff, all those things has been, postponed.
Yes.
But I hope, with the beginning of next school year, these 10 buses, we're gonna do our pilot, as we stated. Okay. As far as towards the end of the report about subscription busing, a lot of our parents has paid for an entire year for the busing, and right now there's no busing service for them. So I would really ask our committee to look at the pricing for next year. I hope that we're not going to increase the cost. Because let's use the money that we have to offset some of the thing that you're planning to increase next year. Because they already paid for it, they're not getting the service for the remaining of the, at least for the 1 month period that we have asked them to stay
Okay.
on. Those are the things that I would love the committee to look into a little bit more in detail. So.
Good point, Jerry. And again, if the committees want to meet virtually using this Zoom, now that we're getting a little accustomed to it, we're not all very familiar with it, but you may have committee meetings if you like. And if anyone has questions for any specific committee, email the committee chair and give them your questions.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I'm still a little bit, reluctant on increasing the bus fees. And the things I don't know what Dr. Brigham, I don't know if you know this thing. We did ask Mr. Benedict, we have an echo, to put a survey on the line or part of the parent portal, let the parents indicate whether they are interested in subscription bus or not. Because I know some of the parents, they have done this in the past. They say, hey, I've been trying for the past 3 years. I'm not getting anything, so I'm not putting my request anymore. And I hope that when we go out this time, parents are actually going to indicate whether the interests are there or not. Then we can look at whether we can provide subscription bus to them to help with the situation. I do like to thank the administration for adding those 2 buses that based on the needs, but I know we still have quite a lot of demands there. We just trying to figure out where those demands are so we can plot out a route so we can get a prescription busing, which we can at least break even.
Okay. Any other Elizabeth, you had your hand up?
Yes, I just wanted to say I needed to get on the record that the Facilities and Finance Committee did meet on March 20th, and we did it remotely, and we went over the budget line by line and asked many questions of Dr. Bragan and Mr. Mashad. And I'm sure we'll have more meetings between now and May 6th. I feel it was just a beginning meeting where we attacked the budget to see what is needed and where we need to go in the near future.
Thank you, Elizabeth. That is correct. We didn't meet virtually.
Yes, we met for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
we did it on that this Zoom.
Yes, yes. Okay.
That's a first Zoom,
Yeah.
first Zoom meeting? Okay.
Right.
That's good to know.
Oh, and I didn't say it was, I was present, Ralph was present, Una was present, Dr. Bragan was present, Dan Mashad was present, and Shivy is present.
Shivy was present.
I'm sorry, Shivy was present. It was a very productive meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, anything else? I guess now the next is board president announcements. As of right now, and we may combine another meeting, but as of right now, the upcoming meeting is the caucus meeting will be on Tuesday, April 21st at the Ed Center, if we're able to go to the Ed Center. And the public meeting will be on Monday, April 27th at Edison High School, again, if we can go to the high school. If we are going to combine those, and this is for the public's sake, we will obviously notify everyone within the guidelines of notification. So I just wanted to make sure everyone's there. Let me go back to my agenda all the way to the top here. Okay, all right. We are now in, okay. Board member open discussion. Anyone?
Okay, board president. Yeah, can I?
Go ahead, Mr. Shi.
Okay, so I just want to have a suggestion. I know we are going through the virtual meeting. This is our first time. A lot of the agenda items that's in the resolution, I would like to see that our administrators, our BA actually go through that first. Like we're going through the caucus meeting, they talk about these things so we can, understand that what the things the public might not have read it.
Gotcha.
When Dan or Dr. Bragan go through this, they add they're part of into this discussion. So I think those things are helpful before we actually go vote. So that's just a suggestion.
Very good suggestion. Any other comments? Board members?
I have a comment. I was hoping that Hope can give us some guidance on the Open Public Meetings Act change that allows for us to have these virtual meetings. We had discussed that earlier, that maybe we should make a comment.
Yeah, sure. Hold on. I think I actually put it here. What happened was, and that was the part of the amended open statement that President Errico read in the beginning. Governor Murphy signed what's now called PL 2020 Chapter 11, which amended the Open Public Meetings Act that allows for virtual meetings. Prior to this point in time, the original guidance from the Department of Community Affairs was that even though you could conduct a virtual meeting, you still needed to have a physical location. So that amended that. It also, in a second piece, allows for there to be a virtual notice. And then when you do a virtual notice of that particular meeting, you're supposed to limit your comments to only, and not just comments, but the topics to just those things that are of critical nature. That's why it was important for this particular board meeting at the open statement, in the opening statement, that this actually was a regularly scheduled meeting. So this one didn't have the electronic meeting notice. The only notice change was the format and that it was going to be done remotely.
Thank you. Is that it, Val?
Yep.
Okay. Any other open board comments? Yes, Mrs. Conway. I like the hand thing.
Well, I just hope, I don't have the little thing that says raise your hand.
I think that's under the 3 dots all the way up on top. Raise hand. Like I'm going to do it right now. Watch. Did my hand come up?
No.
It did over here.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it did. It's
All
a
right,
little delay. A little delay shows up. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna now lower my hand. There you go.
There you go. Gone.
All right. Anyway.
I would just like to take the time to thank all the staff at the district doing the various jobs. under the circumstances, we're going through a very tough time, and they're doing an excellent job with what we can get done. But I'd also like to thank the parents and appreciate them for what they're going through. This is such a difficult time, and I know it's stressful for most people, but they have to understand we're doing the best we can at both ends, and we will get through this. And I appreciate them all for trying their best and doing their best.
Thank you. I have to reiterate, obviously, what Elizabeth said. This is uncharted times. You know, I work in a school district, obviously, with teachers and administrators, and it is much more difficult in what the teachers and the staff are doing right now than it would be to write weekly lesson plans and going into a classroom in front of 25 to 35 students. So I would like to, you know, commend every single staff member out there for all the great things they're doing with our students. Is it the perfect world? No, absolutely not. Is it better to be in a classroom? Absolutely. But what we're doing now is the best we can, and we're going to continue and improve our teaching abilities through online learning. And I think as of today, I think the staff has done a tremendous job, and they need to be applauded for that effort. So I want to thank everyone in Edison and the township, including the parents. The parents, this is not easy on the parents either. You know, some parents are working from home, yet they still have to sign their children on the devices to get caught up and into the learning process. So this is a burden on the parents also. So I would like to thank all the parents of Edison for helping their children, working with our staff and being cooperative and understanding in this trying times. I'm hoping within a 30, 45-day period, we can get back to normalcy at some point and move on from this you know, situation that we're going through. So again, thank you to all the staff and parents out there. At this time, we're going to go into public comments again. And I believe I see Councilman Joshi's hand up. If you could recognize Councilman Joshi, Sam Joshi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Sam. How are you?
Awesome. Hey, everyone. I just want to say first, thank you for this meeting. I see that you've made an active effort. It's impressive that you're trying to put this all together. This is all very new for all of us. And second, I know regarding the education committee that we had, I thought it was very productive. And we did actually get quite a few, I'm going to say most answers on this. I was hoping to have another education subcommittee meeting so that we can iron out some details on what we need to do. Obviously, COVID came in the way. So if we can just recap one more time before we share. I don't have a formal report to share with you, but if we can, whether it be virtually or over the phone, we can go over some of these answers with the administration as well. I know some of their priorities have shifted, for example, with Public Works, just the different things that everyone's doing right now. But I will, I can say that most of these answers have been, most of the questions have been answered. And lastly, just want to echo the sentiments of Ms. Conway and Mr. Errico. This is absolutely an historic time for all of us, and thank you all for bearing with us. You know, we're obviously trying to get through. This is a huge learning curve for every single one of us. I just appreciate all the effort and work that you guys are doing right now on the Board of Education, as well as the parents. To the superintendent, I know that I messaged you with a question. You can message me privately, but if on the parks, if you let me know if you need anyone in the township to cut off the parks. We'll try and help you out with that or anything else. Other than that, thank you very much, and hopefully we can get through this quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Joshi.
Well, President, can I ask the councilman a question?
If he's still on, yes.
So we talked about Sam, we talked about Stelton School to get it off Rossi. Do you have any updates on that, or you want to give us an update at the next meeting?
The quick answer is yes, it can be taken off the Rossi. There's a process to it that is pretty elaborate, and I was given 2 different answers, but there are a lot of overlapping scenarios in which it can be taken off the Rossi. It's not a simple process, but we can do it. And
Yeah, so the reason I'm asking is because we are putting out a budget right now, right? So it'll be very helpful if we have some timeline as to, I know this is a lengthy process, and any rough idea when this is going to be a possibility, then we can plan better.
So if we were to start the process today, it would probably take about 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Oh, so Stelton
All right.
School's out.
No, it's not out. It's just, part of the reason for that is because, well, majority of the reason for that is because if it was on the Rossi normally, like other pieces of property, it would probably be within a year or 2. The issue is that that particular property has a number of issues with it. And the most common one that people are aware of is asbestos, but that's not even the biggest issue. It's just structural. There's more issues on that property than we really even knew about.
Well, Councilman,
It is
you know, yeah. So, well, yeah, it's possible, but it's 3-4 years. But we all understand if the district is given that property, we're gonna strip everything down. Okay, the only thing probably left is the 4 walls. You know, all the 4 walls. That's pretty much it. Or maybe the 4 walls are gonna come down. I don't know. At the end of the day, how much is it gonna cost, right? So, you know, I don't know if there's anything that the council can do to speed up the process. I know it's a lengthy process, but if you're talking about 3-4 years, you know, then that's pretty much done. But you know, let's keep our hope high, and I hope that you know what our needs are, and continue to work on their side. I hope that by next meeting we can have some solid timeline so we can plan accordingly.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely possible. It can be done. It would be 1 to 2 years had it not been for the various issues on there. But the timeline of when I was told this takes 3 months, this takes 3 months, the amount of things just added up to 3 years minimum.
Okay.
But I still believe that it's something to explore if the Board of Ed feels that that's the route you want to take. You know, we're obviously not using it
Well,
right
that's an
now.
option, right? There has been an option throughout the whole thing. You know, during the bond referendum. So we want to see if that is an option, right? If it's not an option, we're not going to consider it. If it's an option, we're going to consider it when we move forward.
Yeah. And also with the shared services, Dan, if you can just get back to me on what we had the list of shared services. If you could just let me know what it is, the costs were for all of them, then we can go through that. And yeah, if you could just get back to me on that.
Okay.
I just have a question for Sam, just a quick question.
Sure.
Sam, is there any way to expedite it? Like any kind of procedure which can shorten the process from 3 to 4 years to say 1 year? Getting the property up.
I asked in terms of realistic timelines, how it works. It's a government process, and we are the government. So I'm not saying that there's the irony behind me making this statement is that there's red tape that we are also forced to deal with, but a lot of it is not related to it being on the Rossi. Majority of the issues are actually pertaining to the structural problems that property has. But I think it would be better for us to have this conversation, you know, all privately, so we can lay it. I don't have the full report in front of me, but you know, if it would probably make more sense because it's going to be a lengthy conversation.
That's fair. Okay, thanks.
No problem.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Happy day.
Yeah, you too. Be safe. All right. Next I see is Mr. Bowden.
Hi, everyone. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I just wanted to take a moment to first thank Ralph Barker for doing an amazing job tonight. I know it was a pressurized situation, but did a great job, as he always does. Beside that, I just wanted to thank Dr. Bragan for being part of the calendar committee. I thought it was an excellent way to go with a 3-year calendar. It's very progressive, and I think that'll give us a lot of lead time moving forward in the next couple of years. So thank you to Dr. Bragan. Additionally, the online remote learning had to be put together in a rather short period of time. I think every person that works for the Board of Education, including the board members, deserves an outright applause. But I wanted to especially reach out to our general ed teachers, our special ed teachers, and our speech therapists, who really are doing an amazing job every day. And as Mr. Errico said before, the workload is tremendous. For every hour of preparation for the classroom, it probably takes teachers 3 hours or so to prepare that 1 hour of learning. So again, I want to thank Dr. Bragan for working with the association. We do speak on a daily basis, and I know he does that with all the other unions. And I just want to wish everyone health and support through this very troubling time. And I look forward to getting back to real live meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowden. Next up, we have TD.
Oh, I wonder who that is. Hello, this is Tony T. Pasquale.
Oh, Tony, how are you?
I just wanted to say a few things. First thing is, as if you guys remember, I was announcing over the past few meetings that we had a special needs seminar that we're having on the 24th. Of course, due to everything being shut down, we were able to make that an online meeting. And within a few days of making that change, they had only a maximum of 30 slots for it. That filled up within a few days. So we are doing that tomorrow night from 6:30 to 8:30. The organization SPAN has offered to do a live one again once this is all taken care of and over and done. So that's exciting with that. And with the Edison Special Needs Facebook group that I have, I just want to just say that it's been pretty amazing on it because, there really have not been any complaints about how things are happening with online learning with the special needs kids. A lot of parents shared a lot of information, links, free information, free websites that parents were able to go to. So it was just a really good collaboration of, the special needs parents that are on that group that I think really were able to help each other. And just personally, my two boys, I wasn't sure how things were going to go with them. And, the teachers and the therapists have been fantastic. I was totally impressed with an OT session with my younger son. And the teacher just did an amazing job with it. I thought it was really, really effective. So I just want to thank everybody from Dr. Bragan down and the Board of Education, the teachers, the therapists. It's a trying time, but I think that it just goes to show that when people can work together for a common goal, and I think we've proved that as a district. That common goal is to educate our kids no matter what is put in front of us. And I think that was done successfully. So, and the leadership with Dr. Bragan, it always comes from the top down. And I just think, it just shows the great leadership he has to be able to put everything together so quickly. So I just wanted to just bring that up. So thank you.
Thank you, Tony. All right. Next up, we have Vidya Srinivasan.
Yeah, so I'd really like to thank everyone today. It was a great session. And this gives me a feeling that even our kids can, participate in this kind of Zoom meetups with their teachers, like once in a week. I understand how difficult it might be for, teachers, to prepare the whole syllabus and then present it to the class and everything. But then, there must be some, my feeling is if there's a kind of interaction, that might motivate students to do more, some kind of online interaction, it might help the kids, the same as we had today. And I would also want the education board committee to have these kind of meetups, even after the coronavirus fear is gone, for the next couple of years or 3 years with all the parents, so that everyone gets the opportunity to speak up, voice their concerns and everything. Today was exceptionally great. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk with the board members. Thanks again.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you and be safe.
Thank you. Thank
All right, next up is Sue. I'm assuming Sue Campione. Sue?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi. First of all, I just wanted to say that this went much better than I thought it was going to go. It really worked out well. And I figured out how to raise my hand. Thank you, Mr. Brescia, for telling me what to do, because I could not figure that out the first time. Just a couple of comments regarding Talmadge Road and the sidewalks. I really hope you do something. I pointed that out to the board and the town 20 years ago, that they would need 5 crossing guards to get the kids to school without buses, because of the way the sidewalks are not on the same sides of the street. It switches back and forth. So putting sidewalks on there would be a lot safer, even when the kids are riding bikes and things. It would be great if they finally did that, because it's been 20 years. Also, just a note, I had sent out an email, but the comedy show, obviously, that was supposed to be on Thursday night for the scholarship committee, we had to cancel. So people who sent me checks and money, I have returned some of it. You can get in touch with me via email and let me know. Cash is a little bit harder to return right now. I can tear up checks. Just let me know what you want me to do. I also just wanted to mention, as a power in the district, it's sad we had to do this very quickly, and finding logistics for us to be in touch daily with the students is a little difficult. But I determined, and I did a dojo video today to all of my kids that the parents are able to see, and I can see they are commenting on it. I asked them to show it to their children from me, and it's just a way to reach out that, how much we miss them and seeing them daily, and we're hoping that everybody gets back to normal soon. And I just wanted to let Dr. Bregan know that our porch light was on, and I shared that through the Edison site, and hopefully all of Edison will be shining bright and lighting up on Sunday nights into Monday.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sue.
Again, everybody be safe, and hopefully we'll be back to normal soon.
I hope so too. Thank you, Sue. Be safe. All right, now last person I see is Linda Pham.
Hi, am I unmuted? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we all can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for having this meeting, Dr. Bregan and the Board of Education. Working together, the transparency, the openness is great. I'm just going to speak on behalf of my children and parents in Shivi's WhatsApp group, they're very concerned. The students are very concerned about their grades. And I know that Dr. Bregan had said that fairness is very important, which I totally agree. But I'm just asking, when you guys are formulating grading policy, that it is beneficial for the students, especially high school students who are worried about the third and fourth marking periods. All the colleges, all the Ivy League colleges are moving into pass-fail. So I just am speaking up in behalf of my children, all the children in Edison, to have the teachers be flexible, be understanding, and be supportive as much as they can. So thank you so much and have a great evening.
Thank you very much. Okay, I think that's it for, let me just make sure there's no more hands. All right, that's it. So before we close, again, I would like to thank everyone, especially Mr. Barker. And I don't know where the other gentleman went. Who else? Who else, Mr. Barker? Unmute yourself and take some.
McDonald.
Patrick.
Patrick. Where's Patrick? Thank you, Patrick. Thank you,
How can I
Mr.
forget
Barker.
Patrick? He's with you every single meeting.
I know. We have to talk about Patrick at another point. But anyway, thank you, board members. Thank you, everyone. Margaret, Gail, Bedinda. I'm sure I'm missing Dr. Conklin, everyone that is, connected tonight. Thank you for participating, Dan, Hope.
Board President Erico, can I say something before you sign off?
Patrick could say, and sure you can. Yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to make a point of saying publicly that, our thoughts and prayers go with our community members who have tested positive for the COVID-19. We do have a few staff members that were positive, as well as I'm sure there's a number of people in Middlesex County and our township, and I want to publicly wish them a speedy recovery, and that we're here for anyone that we can help as well. Thank you.
Everyone's sentiments, I think, are the same. All right, I need a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close the meeting.
Elizabeth and Jerry Shee, please. Dan? Oh, no, we don't need a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Good night, everyone. All you have to do
bye-bye.
is press leave meeting and you're out.
Well done, everyone. Thank you.